Network. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and as always, leave a comment, and thank you for enjoying the video. The following video is brought to you by BSE.
Shot to right, slicing toward the pesky pole, down the line, and it's going to be out of here! Line down the right field line toward the pesky pole, leaping up, and that ball is gone! That's a home run! A lot of our Nesson team as well. High fly down the right field line, headed toward the pesky pole. That one tucked in, and that ball is going to be against the wall and into second base. Number retired, and now Rafael Devers trying to retire that baseball inside the pesky pole.
Welcome to another episode 82 of the Pesky Podcast. I'm your host, Rit. With me, like always, is the OG George Sutherland and my man DC. Guys, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing good, man.
Doing all right, man.
Nose melting.
Had a little scare before this. Thought I broke my finger, but I got lucky. Just thought I'd let you know that.
I still want to say something.
I'm fighting through it.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know.
I'll sit there and I'll type in the side chat. So, but no, we're sitting there and we're doing this yet again. The Angel series, is wrapping up as we speak right now. Can I get it? Can I get a score for the game right now while we are talking about it?
Bottom 7.
Yep.
Yeah. So, guys, let's sit there and let's talk. I know the game's not over yet, but let's quickly talk about the Angel Series MVP. And, of course, we're also going to be talking about our
Totally Nasty
award. So, guys, Totally Nasty award, George. We're going to let you take it.
Well, going into today, I had somebody coming out of the bullpen, but given his performance today, I think Mr. Houck goes back to back. Tanner Houck goes back to back with a nice 6-inning performance. It was just what the team needed, and good job.
Man, it's crazy. A little refresh recap here. I took Cutter Crawford. George, you took a Whitlock. And DC, you might have got screwed a little bit with White Start. So, but, how
he was throwing frisbees, baby.
He looked good. It's just one little defensive play, and, he's the man that gets charged with them. So, MVP. DC, would you like to announce the series MVP for the Angels?
Yeah, I think you got to go with Tyler O'Neill. 2 home runs Friday night, the game-winning home run then. And then he went back-to-back with Rafi today. He was 3 for 4 on Friday. And then today he just continued it. Yesterday was a little bit of a down game as far as the offense, but I think they responded well, and he was the main catalyst for that.
Yes. So, well, a little quick recap. I had taken Casas. George, you took Story. And we're gonna be diving into that a little bit later in the broadcast. And DC, you took the other half of the Super Smash Brothers, Jarren Duran. So, unless something dramatic happens in this game, the series will end on a 2-1. And George and myself, we went 2-1. DC, you were optimistic, and it could have went that way. You went 3-0. So far for the series, for the season, we've got me at 4, DC at 1, and the OG at 2 for our points that were given away for picking the correct Totally Nasty, MVP, and the series coming. So,
hey man, somebody's got to be at the bottom. I'll take that spot for you, boys. That's how much I care about you.
Well, don't worry, man. I'll be down there soon.
Hey, it's a long season, so anything can happen. So, but before we go and get into our guest, who will be talking about the Baltimore Orioles series, we're going to be having a quick word from our sponsor. Join the Red Sox room on district.net/Midwest Bach Break to enter the chance to win a $50 gift card to our store, BSEN. Offer ends at the home opener on 4/9. So all you have to do is join the district.net/Midwest Box Breaks to enter or win a chance for a $50 gift card for our BSEN store. So, but without further ado, tomorrow we have a nice day off, and then we go to the home opener with all the bells and whistles. The 2004 team will be there. We're going to be honoring Wake. We will also be putting together our own video for Wakefield to talk about, written by and narrated by the great OG George Sutherland. So, but we're going to have, well, you write the narrative, don't you, George?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, but no, we're going to sit there and bring in the host of, DC, you got to help me because I can never say it right.
I just say the OC podcast.
The OC podcast. There we go.
Correct.
There you go.
Podcast. There you go.
There you go.
That's why, George, you are an English scholar. So, but let's bring him in. I don't know nobody that knows anything more about the Baltimore Orioles than this man, Josh Linn. So let's bring him right in. Bam.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, Josh?
Yeah,
how you been?
Dude?
Not much. I got this whole like Ernie McCracken and Kingpin hair going on. Other than that, doing pretty well. How about y'all?
Good.
Not bad. I'm kind of excited. Baseball season's back. Now I'm kind of worried because we got to play you guys, and which will be our first true test of the season. So.
Hey, I got one thing I got to ask Josh.
Did
Did you make sure to acknowledge your tribal chief? And are you prepared to acknowledge him tonight?
Oh, no. That story's getting finished tonight. Not flinching.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be finished when he never gets another title run again. But anyways, so Josh, man, we're sitting there, we're talking 4-9, big day for us up in Red Sox Nation. 014 comes back. Wakefield's gonna be, praised and remembered. But we got the Baltimore Orioles. And this is a new team, like than what we remember. New ownership it was approved right before the season started.
The day before opening day.
Yeah. I sit there and I want to talk. And I want to ask a question to you, because Cal Ripken's actually, on the board. How does that mean, to the fans, knowing that there's somebody that's revered in Baltimore as much as he is and was, that is a part of, ownership there?
I think it's immense just because of the fact, like, he's still synonymous with the Orioles, even though he hasn't played in 23 years now. And it's going back since I've been an Orioles fan, it was always rumored that he had some interest in a minority stake, because he's been able to generate a decent amount of wealth for himself through his youth baseball academies. So I think that was something that obviously universally welcomed by Orioles fans. And I think David Rubenstein, who's the new controlling partner, made it a note to say that he did want to get him involved. A lot of his partners are connected to Baltimore in some way. Like Mike Bloomberg is a minority owner now. He has a history with Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. Grant Hill, his dad used to work for the Orioles. He was born in Baltimore, so he's a part owner. A couple of other owners who I'm not as familiar with are Orioles fans too. So it was definitely a concerted effort for them to get a locally based ownership group together, and they definitely pulled that off.
Yeah, it's huge for you guys because they went out and got Corbin Burns, and that was something that I was hoping the Red Sox would have went out and to do. And you guys didn't give up as much as I thought you would have had to get him. So and I honestly think Burns is going to want to extend. Like there's no shadow of a doubt overall that he's going to want to stay there because of the young core you guys have around you and the hunger that's on there. It's immense.
Yeah, and they don't have. I think they have like $1 million committed to 2025 right now. So there's really no excuse for them to not increase payroll further. I don't even think they're at 100 million. I think they're around the $100 million mark right now with all of the Chris Davis money and stuff like that. But yeah, the environment would be perfect for him to extend. I know he's been very vocal about wanting to test the market, so I don't think anything's going to happen in season, but they have all the resources to make a competitive offer. And going back to what you said about the package, like Joey Ortiz is really good, and he would have been up in the majors last year if he played anywhere else. And DL Hall has the potential to be a really good starter. But yet, like, our farm system's so deep that it just really didn't matter. Like, we still have Jackson Holiday and Westberg and Norby, and that's just in the middle infield. So you make that move 1,000 times out of 1,000.
Yeah, and don't forget, you guys have yet again the top catching prospect, in Major League Baseball. So yep. That's just crazy there. So let's start off with Corbin Burns because Tuesday you guys are throwing Burns out there, and we've got El Nino Bayo going out there. So how has Burns looked so far, and what can we expect from him?
As advertised, opening day he was amazing. Only gave up 1 hit, struck out 11. His second start his stuff wasn't as good, but he got through, I believe it was 5 1/3 without any, they still won the game. So even with his worst stuff, he was able to get into the 6th inning. He's going to be our best pitcher all year. And it's going to be tough for anybody because he's dotting 96-mile-per-hour cutters everywhere. And you don't really see that often. And he has command of every single pitch. They're all plus pitches. So it's going to be tough. But I know that the Sox have some guys that can work the count a little bit. So might give him some problems.
Well, how does it feel, Josh, to look at your pitching staff? And how long has it been since you had a true number one ace? Like Means has been hurt off and on, but besides Means in recent years, like how's it feel?
It's been since 2007 when we had Eric Bedard, when he finished, I think, 3rd in the Cy Young voting. So this is an entirely foreign feeling. And in terms of just acquiring a player of that standard, I think the last time they made a trade like that was when they traded for Sammy Sosa in 2005. So this is an entirely new landscape that we're in that I'm still getting used to. And not used to the Orioles with expectations, but I'm glad we're finally here, especially after the beginning years of the Elias era where you kind of had to strip everything down from the studs and build back. So, and hopefully there's some more at the deadline. That would be nice too.
Yeah. But he's going up against our newly crowned ace that we extended in the offseason. George, you want to sit there and talk about Bayo a little bit?
Sure. I mean, he looked, he got it out as his opening day start up in Seattle. Pitched, didn't have his best stuff, but, hung in there. He had knocked around a little bit by the A's. He gave up a couple of home runs, gave up 4 runs. 5 hits. He struck out 6, but he wasn't sharp. Kept the team kept him in the game and ended up winning it in extras. I think he's adjusting to the fact that he's now the man on the staff. But he he's hanging in there, and that's really about the only thing you can ask for at this stage of his career. It's a little bit tough to watch him struggle at times because you know that the upside is so good. But he should be pumped up again in front of the home crowd, and I would expect a very good outing from him.
Yeah, Bayo's ERA doesn't really so far this season show of what he actually has done.
Mm-hmm.
He is horrible at daytime games. He is horrible in the Coliseum, and Oakland took advantage of him there. This is going to be a game that we're going to be sitting there watching because he has to attack. And Josh is going to go over later. He's got to attack that Baltimore offense, that Baltimore lineup. He can't sit there and try to, work counts. He's got to go right at him because if not, he's going to be out of the game really easy. So game 2, you guys are pitching Irving.
Yes.
He sit there and he's got a 7.20 ERA. We're throwing out the pit bull Pavetta. He's got a 1-1 record with a .82 ERA. So Josh, what can we expect from Irving? And what has he shown so far this year?
He was okay in his first start. Didn't look the best, but kept them in the game. His command wasn't very sharp, which it usually is. I hope it goes better than his first start in Fenway last year because he got torched quite a bit and he was sent back down to AAA shortly after that. He had an uptick in velocity in spring training. He used to sit like 88 to 92. Now he's kind of more 91, 94. But like I said, his command hasn't been as sharp. He is prone to give up some hard contact and some fly balls. As a left-handed pitcher in Fenway, that's not exactly the greatest combo. So that one I'm a little bit worried about, but at the same time, if he can command his pitches and keep the contact soft, even if he allows 3 or 4 runs, if the offense does their job, they'll have a chance to win.
Yeah, you guys have a great defense behind especially that middle infield there, to where and we're going to dive into that a little bit later, where we might have some trouble for a little bit. So
yeah, unfortunately, Henderson had the throwing error at the end of the game today that ended with the Pirates winning. But he's incredible, and they had Mateo playing at second, who's also a Gold Glove caliber shortstop. So yeah, we have defense for days. Yeah,
DC, what can we expect from the Pitbull, Pavetta?
Trying to continue the hot start to the season. I like him to go a little bit longer in games than he has, especially last game against Oakland. But 13-1 Ks to walks, which is a good ratio to have. I think one of Andrew Bailey's philosophies is throwing your best pitch in the strike zone, which will limit the walks down further in the game. I like to see him strike a little more than he did in Oakland. Baltimore's offense is a lot more scary, obviously, a lot more consistent. But a fiery guy, he has that nice slider sweeper that he throws that he's been working on since the middle of last season. But he's going to come right at you.
Yeah, I do sit there, and it's early, but with Pavetta, I don't want to see him be out there and not go deep. A little bit deeper would be nice, so that way we don't have to rely on the bullpen as much this early on in the season. Just because,
especially how the other starters have been, the last few games.
Right.
Bayo was 5 innings. Whitlock had like 4 1/3. Today was a good game by Houck to kind of give them a rest because they've been throwing out the bullpen quite a bit the last few games.
Yeah, and against the Angels, that's something that I wouldn't have expected at all. So, and then game 3, you guys are throwing out Rodriguez, and then we throw out my boy Cutter Crawford. So this game here, I'm picking this game here, this matchup here, to be the matchup to watch out of the whole series. So talk about Rodriguez. What can we expect and how he's been so far this season?
Yeah, so his first 2 starts have been fantastic. He's allowed 1 run in each. I believe he has 16 strikeouts in the 2 games in a little 12 and a third inning, I want to say. But yeah, the fastball is explosive, which is a little bit scary right now because everybody's arms are falling off. But you're getting 96 to 98, can flirt with 100. Breaking pitches are great. The X factor pitch for him is his changeup. If it's working, good luck, because it's really hard to get on top of or even make contact with at all. His command has been a lot better since the second half of last year, save for the playoff start, which was a little shaky, understandably. But yeah, he's largely a strike thrower. I'm hoping he stays away from the cutter a little bit. That's probably his weakest pitch. And if the Red Sox can get a hold of one, that could be an issue for him. But he has been every bit as good as we expected and has a chance to be a top 10 pitcher in the American League.
Yeah, and we're throwing Cutter Crawford out there, who is doing everything that I said that I wanted him to do. He has done so far. He hasn't have any decisions yet, but he's only given up 1 run in 2 starts, which is really, really good. Especially when he got bumped up almost immediately to the to be the third man in the rotation. He's got a 12 strikes to 4 balls ratio, which is good. And he was relying, and this is part of this that's going to scare me, coming up a little bit, where he's relying on the defense behind him, to where if he does misplace a ball, that they pick it up, he gets in trouble, they get into a double play, and without one key piece on that defense, Trevor Story, man, that's going to be a little hard to replace, as much as we don't want to see it. So, but this matchup here between Rodriguez and Crawford, I think is going to be the matchup of the series. So, well, guys,
too.
Oh yes. Wild. So, what we're going to do, Josh, this season, we have went and we have made last year we went and did series, best pitcher, best MVP of the series. Well, this year we changed the pitcher to the actual
Totally Nasty
award. So we're going to go around and we're going to pick the Totally Nasty award winner for this series and predict who it's going to be. And we're going to start off, like always, with the creator of the Totally Nasty award, George the OG Sutherland.
I'm going with my boy Nick Pivetta. I think he is going to get super fired up pitching back at home. I think that the matchup kind of favors him. Like I said, Irving's been a little tepid in his first 2 starts. And one thing that Pivetta really does when he's at home, he gets stoked. So I can see him just delivering an excellent performance and worthy of the Totally Nasty. Cue it. Be totally nasty. There you go.
Okay, Josh. Who do you say will get the Totally Nasty award in this series?
It's kind of the easy answer, but I gotta go Corbin Burns. Yeah, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Like I said, 3+ pitches, cutter, curveball, changeup. So yeah, gonna keep it short and sweet. Corbin Burns.
Okay, and DC, who are you taking for the Totally Nasty award?
I'm going Pivetta. I know George already said it, but he's my pick. Bayo scares me during day games. I think we touched on that. What was it, last podcast? He's not the biggest fan of day games. His performances aren't the best. Not knocking Cutter Crawford, but I think out of the 2, I think I have to go Pivetta.
Well, I'm in the lead, and I want to try to stay that way. So with George and you both taking Pivetta, I'm going to be going I'm taking your route there, DC. I think back-to-back games, Kenley Jansen's going to go in and get the save. So I'm going to take Kenley Jansen for the Totally Nasty Award. So
Just hope
I
he
think
gets a good night's sleep, and he's not a little sleepy boy when he wakes up.
Well, he sit there and he has Monday off. I don't think we're even going to need him for Tuesday's game. So, but I think Wednesday and Thursday back-to-back, Kenley's going to come in and get the save. So that's who I'm going to be taking for the Totally Nasty Award.
That long cross-country airplane ride, man, that might flare up that back of his.
Those first class seats, man, he can recline. He'll be asleep by the time they cross over Bakersfield.
As long as one of the windows doesn't pop out or like a thigh pan flies off.
Yeah, please tell me they're not flying.
Yeah, you guys stick to Airbus. Do not go Boeing. Stay Airbus. For the love of God.
The next thing you know, the Red Sox are getting cheaper, and they go like the was it Major League when they had that really bad plane? Oh
yeah.
Man,
it's a great movie.
Yeah,
great movie.
So
I thought you were going to say hot air balloon.
Oh no, they wouldn't make it there. But let's switch over to the lineup now. The lineup, you guys got that young lineup now. Our lineup also is, on the younger side now, and like the shirt says that's up on our website. Vibe, dance, repeat. That's what they do down in the dugout now. But let's sit there and we're gonna start with the Red Sox here, quick, Josh, and we're gonna talk real quick, and you can chime in if you want about the Trevor Story injury. George, you want to start off with that?
Yeah. You want to talk about the wrong time for anything? This is the absolute wrong time. Period. The man was out to prove himself to the fans. He had played spectacular defense. I mean, he made a play in Seattle that was just incredible on Rodriguez. And then I when I was watching the game Friday night and I saw him lay out for it, first was out of my mouth, and my wife was sitting next to me. We both almost at the same time said dislocated shoulder. It's too bad because he has made such a difference. People thought they were coming for his bat, but you realize what a great shortstop he really is. And this is going to hurt. We'll see how much it's going to hurt in terms of how long he's going to be out. If they come back and do more tests in Boston, and we'll see. We'll see what the prognosis is. For a return. But this is a killer because he was playing exceptionally well, and he was just starting to think he would be a little bit more comfortable at the plate.
Yeah. So, man, it was just very unexpected. When he was being walked off the field, the way he had his arm positioned, and you could see that it was slightly shifted. Mm-hmm. So one was definitely lower than the other. So I was being, the best thing would have been a sprain in between dislocated. And then I don't even want to say, what the worst possibility was. So I'm okay. I'm thankful that it's in the middle. DC, what about you?
Yeah, it sucks, man. Like George said, he was coming in trying to prove himself. Obviously, the first, few years of his contract with the Red Sox, a big contract, haven't gone well. And he adds that leadership aspect to the team as well with the great defense. I think his bat was going to start turning around here. You're starting to see the ball better, it looked like. But yeah, that's just heartbreaking. Sucks. As you see last night, last night or 2 nights, last night with, I know it wasn't shortstop, but, the defense was pretty bad again. And it kind of gave me PTSD from 2023 Red Sox baseball. So, hopefully he gets back sooner than later. It's up in the air. Obviously his interview wasn't too encouraging either. He seemed pretty down about it. And yeah, it's just tough, man. It sucks.
I was so surprised that they actually let him do an interview after that. Like, that is nothing that I have ever seen, where someone's injured and then after the game, he's able to take questions and wants to take questions. So
Yeah,
that
but
really
that's in keeping with who he is. Okay, I mean he owns it. Okay, and he feels an obligation. So yeah, he owned it. He said, "I'm going to tell you exactly what it is." And I think that they probably would have had to cuff him to have him not appear in front of the press after the game.
So, Josh, you have any comments about the story?
Yeah, just a bummer from just a baseball fan's perspective. I always enjoyed watching him hit bombs ever since he's been up with the Rockies. So, and you never want to, especially in a position as crucial as shortstop, to see a plus defender go down. That's a really hard void to fill short term. And obviously, Marcelo Meyer's not quite ready yet. So,
no, we're talking about who they called up here in a little bit. Josh, let's talk about your lineup now. You got 1 through 9 is looking pretty nice for you. Talk about who you think got off to the hottest start so far for you.
Honestly, we could talk about our AAA team too, because they have been like unconscious in a way that I've never seen before. But no, our offense, it's actually been scuffling a little bit. We scored 24 runs in our first 2 games against the Angels, and in the next 7, we've only scored 23. Last two nights against the Pirates have been a little tough to watch offensively, but there's obviously reason to think that's going to improve. Their track record, obviously, and the fact that it's only been 9 games, you can't really take much out of the statistics just yet. And there's their average exit velocity right now is the 5th highest in the majors. Their batting average balls in play is the 5th lowest in the majors. You could say they're getting a little bit unlucky. And yeah, we have 5 guys in Norfolk right now that could come up and make the offense better. It's just kind of like Jackson Holliday's the number 1 prospect, and I think he should have started the season in Baltimore, but he's going to be up anytime soon, and that takes second base from a bit of an offensive liability to potentially a great strength. So, yeah, no worries about the offense at all, despite a little bit of a timid start. And obviously Boston's a nice place to hit. So, yeah, no concerns about them. They're going to be great.
Okay, DC, we want to sit there and talk about who I think and probably has the hottest start in this Red Sox team, Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah, he's been the one constant that we've had, since the season opened. A lot of questions if he can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, you see what he can do. 5 home runs so far, had 1 today. I'm not going to lie, my butthole clenched a little bit when he got hit today. It scared me, after seeing how many people got hit this series alone, and then his Story injury. But he's working counts. He can steal. I know he doesn't have too many stolen bases right now, though. He has 1 throughout the season, but I think that number goes up, as the weather gets warmer, hopefully. They were just playing in LA, so I guess that's a little moot point. But yeah, he's the one force. And so go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. You finish your thought. I have.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, just consistency, and that's what they need right now, especially without Story in the lineup. And he's doing it at the right times too. He hit that go-ahead home run the other night against the Angels, and today. He seems to. Did him and Costas went back-to-back, right, on Friday? And then he was the second half of the back-to-back today. Right. So, I don't know. Hopefully his hot start can be contagious because they need it. And then, maybe he can be a guy that they can lean on for leadership as well.
Yeah, to that point about the steals, our pitchers are not great at holding runners, so that could be a potential issue for us.
Yeah.
Especially with, Duran. So if they get aggressive on Kansas City gave us all kinds of hits in our series with Witt and Michael Garcia. So that could be a way that the Red Sox could kind of get an advantage and manufacture runs.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's awesome.
Personally, not only with Duran, but who we got called up today, who did a leadoff home run, David Hamilton. That man is flash. And I want to sit there and talk with you, George, and DC real quick. Last year we had an injury that brought Jarren Duran up. Now we got Trevor Story injury. We brought Hamilton up. Hamilton, above average defender, but he just didn't have that offensive, bat that we needed. But then today he sit there and lead off home run. He went 2 for 4. And do you think that he could be somebody that helps us out on the defense? Because I don't know if Reyes is the guy that can go out there to replace Story.
You want to go first, DC? Or what?
You can go, buddy. I just went.
Look, Reyes is a utility player, so more is less with him. Hamilton, look, we know he runs faster than a hurricane, but he is. You're right. He is a better than average defender. He made a couple of nice plays today. The first rocket that was hit at him by Sano came off the bat at 112 miles an hour, and it went past. It did make the play, but you hit something like a BB hit at you, you're going to be in trouble. But he has got better range than Reyes, and I think that he can probably hold the fort. Before coming up, he had hit 2 bombs in Worcester. So for him to step up and drive one into the right field seats was really nice to see. Then his big thing is, can he get on base consistently enough to use his speed to an advantage? Okay. And, him and Rafaela and Duran, yeah, that's going to perform. That's going to be nightmare for your pitchers and your catchers, because these guys can fly. So,
yeah. So, Josh, you guys got arguably the best catcher in the game. So, what has he done so far this year, and how has he been with the pitching staff, being able to control the game?
He's been great. You can tell that the pitchers love him. Even like Craig Kimbrell, who you picture as this like ornery, surly dude, was out there like hugging and smiling with him. Sorry, that was my dog. But no, 3.74 starters ERA, 1.95 bullpen ERA. He's got great command, great of the game, great framing skills. He's made offensive contributions so far. Hasn't hit a home run yet, but he's been on base. He's only struck out, I think, 2 or 3 times so far. Yeah, he's arguably the best catcher in baseball right now, and should be for the foreseeable future. I'm hoping his in-game power takes a step up this year. He only had 20, well, not only, but had 20 last year. But then you looked at what he did in the home run derby from both sides of the plate. Like, he's got so much juice in that bat, and I'm just waiting for it to translate to like pushing 30 home runs. But again, he's only 26, 27. So sky's really the limit with his potential.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the rest of your infield. And we can't talk about your infield unless we start off with Gunnar Henderson, because, behind Rushman, Gunnar is going to be the face for years to come. So, well, what's going on with the infield there? And, do you think that the Red Sox will be able to, get on base and not worry about, the double plays, where on the opposite side, you guys will be able to if you guys can get on base, not worry about the double play as much, because without Story, there might not be that timing there between Valdez and Reyes, or Valdez and Hamilton, Reyes and Hamilton. So,
yeah, and our lineup for the most part is very good at having quality at bats and working the count. The bottom third has been a little sketchy in that department, depending on how it's constructed. Like Austin Hayes has been awful, but as it pertains to the infield, yeah, like I would argue extending Gunnar Henderson is more important than Adley, just because he's that amazing. His bat is just stupid. He's got power to every single field. He's takes walks. Plays shortstop so well. Could play third really well too. Yeah, he's a superstar. And then you look at first base, Ryan Mountcastle's been mashing the ball recently, hitting the ball so hard, and he destroys lefties. So if he gets any opportunity to face a lefty this series, it could be a problem. Then you have second base, depending on who's there. Like Jordan Westbrook will sometimes play second, and then he'll sometimes play third. But then we have like Mateo, who's he's not the best hitter, but if he gets hot, he can destroy baseball. Ramon Arias has been scuffling a little bit. Offensively, there's definitely some room for improvement. But like, yeah, Henderson and Mountcastle are the two stars offensively, and then Westberg can take a walk and have some pop as well, especially pull side, which is nice in Fenway.
Okay, Josh, I got to ask you for a question, okay? You sit there and said that Henderson's more of a priority over Adley to extend, okay? If you can't sit there and extend Rushman, are you okay with it, knowing that Samuel, was it Basallo? Basallo is in the wings, ready to come up if need be?
Well, it shouldn't be an either or. Like, they have the financial flexibility to do both. But I mean, with Gunnar Henderson, you're probably looking at the Witt contract as a reference point, which is a lot of money. Rutschman, I'm not sure. Like the record free agent contract for a catcher is Real Muto, but he was older when he signed that deal. So it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of probably $25 million a year on average. And also Henderson's a Boris client, which makes things a little bit difficult. But it's going to be more. It's going to cost way more to extend Gunnar Henderson, but like I said, it shouldn't be an either or with the financial flexibility. But it'll be curious to see how that works, because like with this new ownership, we don't know yet.
Yeah. So George, let's talk about the Red Sox infield. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with Casas at first base. He's starting to pick it up a bit. Seattle kept him off balance, just feeding him ungodly off-speed stuff all series. He made a great play last night laying out to catch a line drive. Really, really nice play. He's looking more comfortable around the bag. Then at second base, and Manuel Valdez has been the second baseman. He's been doing the job, moving runners over. He's gotten a couple of RBIs. He's had a tough game today. He's been hurting us a little bit defensively. He'll make a really good play or make a nice play, and then he'll like lose concentration, drop a ball. He made a couple of decent plays in fielding the ball. And then, he'll undo what he does later on. He has the ability to change the game a little bit. He's got sneaky power, got the little Juan Soto pre-at-bat, wind up, twirl of the bat, but he can launch one when he wants to. More offensive than defensively. We're still waiting for Vaughn Grissom to show what he can do. We talked about the shortstop situation. And then you got Rafi. I mean, Rafi's Rafi. And he took one today, 435 feet it was, to dead center field in the grass, over the trees. And, all Trout could do was look up and go, oh, wow, there it goes. He's dangerous, anytime he, puts a bat in his hands. So, Rafi pulled a Rafi last night, unsure whether he should have charged or backed up on the ball. And when he did, bad things happened. So that's what caused it. I think you have to live and die with that with Rafi. I think he was starting to feel more comfortable with Story, back and helping him out a little bit. But yeah, you're going to get those plays from him, and it's, you take the good with the bad. So.
Yeah. Let me see. I think we got a final score. Oh, no. Top of the ninth, 11-1 Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, let's
score
go
those
over.
runs.
let's sit there and I hope we don't score too many runs because we're going to need some against Baltimore. So
give me all the runs, baby.
But let's sit there and go out to the outfield now. We got our first trip home, which, good Lord, I am so thankful. I think we only have maybe 1 or 2 games the rest of the season, or 1 or 2 series the rest of the season with a 9 o'clock or later start time. Thank God.
Yeah, dude, this sucks. I'm too old for that shit.
This is a killer.
Yeah, but man, we sit there and playing the outfield at other ballparks is completely different. Because you got to play against the Green Monster. You got the Bermuda Triangle out there in center field. So, Josh, who do you guys got out there in the outfield? And Camden is one way. You guys just moved left field a couple years ago back a little bit, but
a lot of bit.
Yeah, but coming to Fenway, that's a completely different. You got different angles. You got the pesky pole there in right field. So let's talk about your outfield.
Yeah, honestly, like our new left field kind of reminds me of the triangle in center with all the weird angles. But so offensively, our offense or our outfield has been scuffling quite a bit, especially Austin Hayes. He only has, I think, 2 hits so far this year. He only has 3 batted balls over 90 miles per hour, which is not great. I think major league average is around 88. Rolling everything pull side into the ground. So hopefully he can get it going, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Heston Kjerstad or Colton Cowser, who's currently on this roster, getting more at bats. Cedric Mullins in center. Defensively, he's incredible. Won a Gold Glove. His arm is his weakness. So if they can get anything into the gaps or deeper into center field, you're almost assuredly going to score from second. Right field, we have Anthony Santander, who's I tweeted about this yesterday, I believe, but he's improved quite a bit as a right fielder. Not going to win a Gold Glove, but he's a serviceable right fielder, decent arm. And then defensively, like Hayes, while he's been scuffling, he's got the strongest throwing arm on the team, I think, by a pretty considerable margin as far as our outfielders go. So I wouldn't advise testing him. So that Mullins, like I said, great defensively. Santander decent. I don't know if we're going to see much of Colton Cowser, though. If we're facing a bunch of righties, I would be disappointed if we didn't. He can play all 3 outfield positions. Solid range. I would say slightly above average arm. But I think we're really going to need some more offensive output out of the outfield, and hopefully that comes from more Colton Cowser and a little bit less Austin Hayes.
Yeah, our outfield has been, taking the brunt of our offense, the brunt of, getting the fire going with, especially for as young as they are, Duran, Rafaela, and of course we already touched on Tyler O'Neill. So, DC, do you want to sit there and talk about our outfield and, how well do you think they're going to, Jaron Duran's going to be doing a lot of playing in front of the Green Monster?
Yeah, I mean, so far the defense has been pretty solid, especially by Rafaela out in the outfield. I do worry with Duran in left field now. The Green Monsters, you can hate it or love it, but I think overall, I think it's going to be pretty solid. Hitting wise, Rafaela's been scuffling, but he just had a 2-run single just about 5 minutes ago. He has cut down his strikeouts. I think he has a strikeout or may have 1 in the last 5 or 6 games, so that's cool. Duran is actually on his 6-game hitting streak as of today, which is pretty solid. He's been hot as hell, coming out of the gates, and I think he needed that to, keep him going. And then Abreu, he's been non-existent.
Yeah, Duran's got to be the hair.
Say that
Hopefully
again?
they don't take that straight from like they did with Nolan Shanwell.
Yo, that was bullshit, dude.
That was horrible.
Like, what do you just? Nobody asked for this. Like, it's like the dude that called in Tiger Woods on the Masters in like 2010 or something.
Let's real quick. Like, let's talk about what MLB is doing and what the Player Association could possibly be doing with all these injuries and stuff. There was a big press release. I don't know how many of you guys actually seen it from the Player Association. Josh, well, what were your thoughts? And do you think that what percentage of a strike that we could possibly be seeing?
I would hope 0, considering we just went through that a couple years ago. As far as the dueling statements yesterday, as much as it pains me to say anything critical of the Players Union, because I generally stand with them 100%, I think some of it was posturing because they had just adjusted the pitch clock rules this offseason and shaved 2 further seconds off of it, which did seem a little bit unnecessary. Like they achieved what they wanted to last year. Like the games were significantly shorter, much easier to watch. I don't understand why the additional 2 seconds. I don't know how much is attributed to that as much as it is the trend to throw as hard as humanly possible, because this isn't a new phenomenon. We've seen an uptick in velocity and in injuries going, over the past decade now. So I don't know. And obviously I've never pitched and I'm not a doctor, but I think the quickness with which people rush to blame the pitch clock, I think, is a little misguided. I think if I had to guess, it's a mix of these throwing programs where they're throwing with like plyo balls, max effort, not really taking an off season to rest. I also think part of it is kids, like, they're playing baseball year round now, as opposed to like playing different sports. So they're really just like Dylan Bundy, for example, who we drafted back 2011, I think it was. I would argue he was damaged goods by the time he even got to the Orioles system, because he had well documented high pitch counts, was throwing like 180 pitches in 3 days. So I would tend to lean more towards this velocity renaissance and the just consistent year round workload that these pitchers are beginning to take on from their teenage years.
Yeah, the pitch clock, I don't see, like, I can see how that would be an effect a little, but still, like, if you look in the 90s, and, George and I, DC's a little bit younger than me, and Josh, you're even younger than that, but, George and I can remember the 90s.
Yeah, I'm older than him, actually. Don't let him tell you different.
Yeah, like 3 months.
2
months.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 months.
2 months.
But looking at the Braves, for the most of my childhood, like my teenage years, the Braves had a four-man rotation, like, and all of a sudden, like, then we start, a 5-man rotation. Now, do you think that we're going to be sitting there in the next couple of years, a possible 6-man rotation? Because of the amount of workload and the amount of effort, and because just like Josh, I gotta agree with you. Everything is max. They want max velocity. They want max effort. But you can't, like, you look at Maddox. Maddox didn't sit there and need to throw 100. He painted those corners effortlessly, and I think now it's better, in my opinion, to be able to go east to west, a lot better than going 100 to, we've seen Duran up in Minnesota up to 104 miles per hour. Like, that's unneeded. You know what I mean? Unless you can throw 103, 104 strike every time, most of those aren't even, in the zone. So
yeah. And like, I do look at a guy like Felix Bautista, who ironically is currently rehabbing from Tommy John. But like, his velocity is rather effortless. And there are guys who can touch the high 90s. You can tell their delivery is like easy. But like I just watched Jared Jones pitch for Pittsburgh against us a couple days ago, and like there's nothing low effort about his mechanics at all, and he's pushing 99. So yeah, it's kind of, I think, and I do think some of it's like modern medicine and diet, like people are going to be throwing harder, but at the same time, these like jumping straight from the end of the season, going to these pitching labs and throwing with weighted balls and stuff like may not be the best thing. And the spin rate revolution too. That's just putting extra stress on your arm as well to try to create more breaks. So it's definitely not as black and white, I think, as some think, but I hope there's some sort of solution, because I would very much like to see like Ohtani and McClanahan and Garrett Cole pitching right now instead of on the shelf.
Yeah, and not just them. Look at DeGrom from last year, Verlander,
Strider.
It goes on and on the list. So ownership has got to sit there and take some sort of part in this. MLB has got to take some sort of part in this. I honestly think that the MLBs will soon be under new leadership unless they 110% get this Ohtani thing taken care of. Especially, did you guys see his first home run as a Dodger comment? Like, and then it seems to me he's a little shady, or maybe his words are being misinterpreted. But to say that you were there to get the ball back when you wasn't, like, that's bad character, in my point.
Yeah, I still haven't, because just with the translation issue, like gap, I'm not sure about that. I think the thugs from Dodger security shaking the woman down was a little ridiculous and refusing to authenticate the ball. But yeah, it's just not a good PR time for Major League Baseball right now. But it's like so much of it is self-enforced or self-imposed. Sorry, like the whole uniform thing, which I could probably go on for 45 minutes about. But yeah, and it sucks because we're coming off a year where, like, as much as I dislike Rob Manfred, like all of those rule changes helped so much and made it so much easier to watch, and you could tell that there was more interest growing just from the standpoint of it being a better viewing experience for the casual fan. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing with the uniform thing. I don't know what the hell the Dodgers were doing there, shaking the woman down. But yeah, and Oakland, that whole situation too. Just a calamity of unforced errors.
Yeah. Me personally, if I would have caught Ohtani's first ball, I would have said, I'm asking for $1 million up front, and then you can give me some defer payments, down the road, because so. But
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a softie when it comes to that. So like, if they had me cornered, I mean, I would like to think I would just be like, I know what I have, but at the same time, when you got a bunch of people grilling you and refusing to authenticate the ball, like, yeah, it's just so bad. But at least the situation became public, so now hopefully she can get compensated a little more fairly.
Yeah. Me now, besides the joke I made with the deferred payment and stuff like that, give me some autographed jersey, an autographed ball to replace it. Give me some tickets to the the next game or something like that. I'm happy with that. A picture taken, that's it.
Yep.
Well, now I'll be like, okay, well, you got to come on the podcast too. I need that in writing. So but. Let's sit there and close this out now. Let's go to the bullpen. So, Josh, you've got your guys' bullpen last year. I thought was pretty well. Our bullpen was pretty well. We got kind of a whole new look. The back three are the same. but then we got the new arms mixed in. So, but you've got some solid bullpen arms over there yet again, and then you got Craig Kimbrell. So
yeah, it's largely the same group besides Kimbrell. You picked that time, but anyway, the middle innings, if we can't get length out of our starters, which we have so far, are still a bit of a concern to me. And but so we have Cano, Coulomb, Tate, and Kimbrell at the back end, who I think will be great, and have been solid so far, except for Cano today, blew the save. So I just don't think he's equipped for the ninth inning role. He's great as a setup guy or high leverage in other situations. But it's the other, like Mike Baumann. If he gets in the game, I'll be a little bit worried. He has a tendency to lose command and give up hard hit fly balls. So I think the big key will be the starters getting deep into the games, so we can kind of rely on that back four a little bit. And actually, I do have to give a shout out to Keegan Aiken. He's pitched pretty well so far this year. So he's been a decent, dependable lefty. So that's probably, if we had my priority list for the deadline, the bullpen would be at the top of it. But I think they're good enough to obviously keep us in a good position until then.
Yeah. George, let's bring in the righty. George, let's talk about the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, this is go to the right-hander. The bullpen has been, for the Sox, with the exception of a couple of appearances, has been very, very good. You've got Jansen at the end with Martin, as your primary setup guy. Wink is your two-inning bridge to those guys. The real surprise to me has been Slayton. I mean, the kid just goes out there, throws strikes, gets it done. He's a Rule 5 guy, and boy, has he been a beautiful addition to the pen. My man Stash Man Campbell has been, has pitched reasonably well. Weissert got jobbed last night a little bit, with the Rafi's error. The only guy that makes me nervous coming in is Joely Rodriguez, our only lefty. So if any of you guys are feast on left-handed pitching, I'm hoping that Cora kind of keeps Joely someplace in the clubhouse, bringing up Gatorade and not on the mound, because he scares the living daylights out of me. And then we got Chase Anderson today. He's been the mop-up guy. Has done a fairly good job with that. So that's our pen is. I think one of the reasons why the Sox have been reasonably successful. Going 7-3 now. For the road trip, and they can keep you off balance. So
yeah. So okay, guys, let's sit there and pick our series MVP. So, and then when you give your MVP, also give the series win-loss overall. So DC, let's start with you. Who you got for for your MVP and the series record?
MVP, I'm going to go my boy Rafi Big Stick Devers. I kept a PG there for you, boys.
What were you trying to say?
Series, right? I was going to say Big Dick Devers.
Oh, okay. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So Rafi MVP, and it's 3-game series, right?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to say they're going to start off their homestand 2-1. I'm not going sweep. Team's too good that they're facing, but I'm going to manifest that 2-1.
Okay. Josh, what about you?
So, in terms of the MVP, let me see. I'm going to go with Adley. I think he'll finally get off the Schneid homer wise. Had a really good first series in Fenway last year. I don't know if he'll start off 7 for 7 again, but I definitely think he'll finally get his power going. I would like to get 2 or 3, especially after the way this Pirates series ended. The Urban game is a little bit of a concern for me, and obviously the first game is going to be tough, just considering all the pomp and circumstance surrounding it. But we have Burns on the mound, so I would like to think we can get 2 out of 3 from this.
Okay. George, what about you?
Justin Casas, I think he has a massive series. I think a little home cooking will do him well. And I think the Sox take 2 out of 3.
Oh, man. So, I'm going to sit there and go. I'm going to go back to the hot bat. I'm going to go back to Tyler O'Neill. And I already said earlier, it's going to, we're going to take 2 out of 3. So, but I got to stick with Tyler O'Neill. They find ways to keep him in the lineup. So, you got to keep him in there. So, well, guys, Josh, we're going to sit there and let you have the floor. Where can they find you? Where can they check out your podcast? Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Podcast name is Ornithologically Correct. You can follow me at my Twitter address right there, JJLINNJJ. You can follow the show at _OC_podcast. Going to be dropping once a week. Probably going to start doing every Friday, but I'm kind of testing out different dates to see what works. But yeah, just general Orioles talk, shit posting, you name it, I got it.
So, guys, man, there isn't nobody I know that knows more about the Orioles than that man right there, Josh Linn.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Or sports in general. That dude's a fucking walking encyclopedia.
Well, DC, didn't you tell me one time that he would give the Swam run for his money on that
Stump
show,
to Schwab?
Stump to Schwab? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. I think
they ended that show because he didn't want that smoke. No.
He takes Schwab for a dog walk, and that dog doesn't come back.
I need some good topics. Like anything golf or tennis, like I'm done.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, I have faith in you, big dog.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Well, guys, make sure you sit there and head on over. Tomorrow, this podcast will drop on all major platforms. Head on over to @BSEN_617. We'll be throwing out shorts all the time. We are now throwing out videos for. We have up there JJ McCarthy. If you're a big Patriots fan and looking at the draft, we have that one up there. On Tuesday, we will be dropping the Wakefield one. So we make sure you head and check that out. Head on over to our website. It is BSEN 617.square.site. Make sure you get your merch. We just dropped 2 brand new shirts. The Sedone Rafaela shirt, the Human Highlight Reel, and the Vibe Dance Repeat is also in shirt and tank top. So, but for the OG, for DC, for Josh and that killer dog, it sounds like you got Pavetta over there, the pit bull. So
no, he's an Airedale Terrier. He's the size of a small horse, but he's all bark. He wouldn't hurt a fly, wouldn't you?
So,
hey, thanks for coming on, Josh. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I'll have to have you guys on
Thanks,
the
brother.
shortly.
So, check us out next time on the Pesky Podcast.